Hey, here's Captain K. Ahoy, landlubbers, and welcome back to another episode of Factorio. In the last episode, we were working on this science factory up here. Look at that monstrosity. And most likely, because we're playing SpaceX, the SpaceX mod, and we need shit tons of science, it might not be enough. But in this episode, if possible, I want to give it a test run. And we basically got all we need. Those are all the resources: copper, iron twice. And you see what's missing. That's the electronic and the advanced circuits that we need for the inserters and the belts for the Science Pack 2, the green science. And of course the fast inserters and for the Science Pack 2. And here we also need the batteries. So that's why off camera I've been finishing the oil rig down here, so let's head over there and have a look. And here we go. So off camera I've been spending a few hours or in total maybe days on this oil production. So all of this to the right we had already. Up here we got the production of the sulfuric acid, and the sulfuric acid of course needs iron plates. So I started by setting up a station for iron, and then we need a station for copper, because also with iron and copper down here and the sulfuric acid we're gonna produce those batteries that we're gonna need. Here as well we got a station for the electronic circuits, because with that we got everything that we need for the production of the robots. Oop, it's tight, I can't run through here. There we go. So the construction robots that then eventually will turn into the space assembly robots that we need in order to build the dry dock in space, and then all the ship components and so on and so on. So I used belts for this. Could have been more efficiently built with roboports and robots and stuff, but well, you know, I actually liked how, you know, to route the belts and fiddle around. I kind of like that. For me, that's a big part of the fun for Factorio. And also with this SpaceX, I have the slight fear that, you know, even though we already are starting to build stuff on a massive scale, so this here, all of this is the Starbase. This alone is the smelting area for copper and iron. That's going to expand up and down here, so all of this will be smelting. Here's the first science cell. Maybe down here we're going to build another one. And up here the space is for the circuits. But then should we find that, you know, despite this massive scale we're still not producing enough, there is room to expand, to build more, and maybe the second science factory I'm gonna build is gonna be a roboport based, and then we got the best of both worlds. We have a contraption with belts and inserters, and we have one with roboports, and then we can also compare. So, you know, whatever we do, we're gonna have a lot of fun together. Now, this one is should be alright. So all that's missing now is the circuits. So let's actually head up there. Let's see if I can still manually drive through all of these rails. It's gonna get more and more complicated. There we go. Especially with all those roundabouts. Here we go. So all of this area is reserved for the circuits. Whoops. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold your horses. There we go. So let's see. Maybe space is enough to build greens on one side and reds on the other side, and then just scale it down. Also, we're gonna need a few of the green circuits for the red circuits, but probably I'm gonna build, you know, the the red and the blue in cells that provide everything that's needed. So like for the blue circuits, we're going to produce the green circuits on site and the red circuits on site, and they directly feed the blue circuits and make everything so that the proportions add up, you know, the ratios. Or maybe I just build a massive green circuit station that then is going to feed the other. So I don't know yet. So let me lay down basic layout and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so here's what I've got so far. First of all, I switched to the other side. Let's have a look at the map. So I decided to start building here with the green circuits. And the main reason is these electronic circuits might then go into the advanced circuits and or go into the what are they called? The blue ones, the I forgot, the processing units, right? So actually let's go back to the recipe. The processing units, they need sulfuric acid, and you've guessed it, sulfuric acid is produced down here. So it makes sense to have the processing units on the left hand side, because from here I can easily route the sulfuric acid straight up, and the rest is down here being used for the production of the batteries. Therefore, electronic circuits on the right, and then we work our way to the left. So I started with laying down a train station. There is a little stacker area, so that allows for, actually there's one, no, they're all here, it's none missing. 3 trains, and here we got our little private station that we use to drive in and out. So a stacker for 3 trains might reduce it to 2. Because of the logic, I want to hook it up if it works. Then one is for iron and the other one is going to be for copper. The main resources for all of these. Oh yeah, and also the plastic, as you saw, is also being produced down here. So that again makes things a lot easier if the advanced circuits and processing units are to the left. So anyhow, I'm rambling. Iron and copper here, and then from here we're gonna route it down, and I made a few experiments. First I thought, well, since every electronic circuit needs 3 copper cable per half a second, copper cable are produced per half a second, but the assembler produces 2. That means we are 1 short, right? So the first obvious step is we have 1 dedicated assembler for the electronic circuit. This one is delivering the full 2 copper cables, and then we're gonna have 1 in the middle that like shares, like delivers 1 to this assembler, 1 to that assembler, so it's 1 each, which would total in 3 in the 3 cable that we need here. And then I was trying different layouts, like we could do it like this. So this would be guarantee the maximum efficiency with beacons. I mean, we can try this if we overlap it and then shift it off by 1. Every one of these in the end would have 4 effect sources at the max. I think we've discussed this before. Then we would have to deliver the copper around the corner like this. I mean, yeah, you could use belts, but I think this is faster, more efficient with chests, and the chests could be limited like that. So that would have been one option. The other option with a buffer would be to stretch it out like that. And the solution in the middle would be to do it like this. So we have 1 spacing in between to deliver the copper directly to the assembler. And now here's the thing. Then I started to think about how this could work with all the ratios. And if we overlap the beacons like this, if we place down another assembler here, As you can see, they are at the same height as these beacons, while these are then shifted off by 1, and that resulting in an overlapping of like with these beacons on that side as well. So this one's got 10 effect sources, while this one has got 12. So because they are a bit off, they overlap with all of these beacons, resulting in 2 more effect sources in total. And that gives us a better ratio. So here, let's see, did I? Yes, I did already place in the additional speed module because this one was still a bit too slow. But like if we have full productivity modules here and 3 here and 1 speed module, then we end up with a nice ratio. This one is 6.3 and this one is 4.25. And let me quickly calculate this. That's 6.3 divided by 4.25. That's a ratio of 1.48, so almost a ratio of 1.5. What this means, if this one produces 1.5 times as much, then of course we end up with 3 copper cables, the 3 copper cables that we need to sustain the production of the electronic circuit. So that's that. And then out of this I made another iteration and I ended up with this here. As you can see, due to the merging of the belts here, yes, there probably would have been otherwise ways to do so. I could route it underground actually. Might as well do that. But let's have a look at the ratio. So now this one has 4 productivity modules each, so both of them. And this one produces at 4.875. And this one produces at a crafting speed of 3. So 4.875 divided by 3 gives a nice ratio of 1.625. That means we have enough copper cable. Also, this is already quite fast, and the experiment, the next one, will be to run down resources and see how often we can stack this until the belt is depleted, and that'll be 1 unit of electronic circuit production. Also, this is nicely tileable. I made a blueprint and it tiles like this. So down here I could just add another and another and another. Yeah. This one needs to go. So yeah, that's what I've got so far. So let's remove all of that. We're gonna need those resources, and then I start building the first cell down here. Also, we'll have to see how we balance these stations and how many of these we're gonna build, because we're gonna need a lot. So let me build a bit more and I'll be right back. And here is what the final thing looks like. The Kenai might have spotted that I had to rearrange the iron belts and redid the copper. It looks now like this. The reason being that I needed an additional fast inserter on each assembler. I've tried this with 2 stack inserters before, but the thing is, this fills up with iron, then they stop, then it starts producing, and then it runs out, and only because it produces that fast, only when it's run out, then both of these start to grab plates again, and it takes a few seconds for a stack inserter to have grabbed a full stack. That's why I placed as the second inserter fast inserter, so this one can already deliver a few plates while this one is getting the full stack, and then he'll drop off the stack, and in total it'll make it work a lot smoother. Same with the copper. Apparently 1 inserter was too little, and that then led to the whole rearrangement of the power. Actually, I need to update my blueprint. Let's see, previously it looked like this. See, and now it looks like that. Do we see anything when I overlap it? Yeah, you see how the iron... Actually, I think, let's have a look at this, and that's the old one, right? So let's delete this. And what's the section? This is the beginning, so I have to grab it from the middle, and it starts from here and it ends there, I guess, and I included these two, so minus U, including those. Yeah, that's it. And now let's hope we can tell it apart. Pretty sure we can though. Let's give it a name. That's the easiest way. That's the well, yeah, mega circuit patch unit. I don't know. Factory. There we go. Mega circuit factory. Not very creative, I know, but who cares right now? And oh, that happens all the time. I wish they would fix that. So let's do that again. It was all of these minus those two mega circuit factory. That one now, that part has saved, but all of that hasn't. So don't ask me why. But I'm pretty sure the devs, because they're awesome, they're gonna fix this in the next version. Here we go. So that's the patch. Everything overlaps. We would go on from here. However, I already did a little test run. And the thing is, it's not that I'm running out of copper and or iron on the belt, although it gets pretty thin down here. I can't build this any longer because this one is already a fully compressed blue belt on this side with these 6 assemblers. So we got the fully compressed belt here and 2 more there, and that can fill 2 train stations. So yeah, that's good. And now let's do the comparison. That's the old one. No, that's the new one. That's the old one. So the old one needed more underground belts. So I saved a bit on the underground belts. And I didn't need the big power poles. What do you call it? Yeah, big poles. Big electric poles. So overall, it's a bit more efficient. And it has 8 additional inserters. Alright, so the old one, this one we can delete, and that one we put into our book. That's, getting pretty full, actually. Let's place it after the super smelter. We're certainly gonna need that a lot more. Also when we need it for the advanced circuits. But yeah, that's it. So, let's give it a test run. Another one for you by hooking it up to iron. So, as soon as this one gets iron, things go crazy. So that's the rate the electronic circuits are being produced, and now hold your horses, look at the copper. That's a freaking machine gun here. But yeah, it's constantly producing, not really running out of stuff sometimes. Oh yeah, you know, it stopped, not because it ran out of iron, but because the belt is full, and because they don't have any power. Yeah, let's place this down here. I think they can't even keep up. I would need 4. But you get the idea, and you just have to believe me that they get enough iron and copper down here. Let's actually disconnect it for now. So yeah, I think this is done. That works. Yeah, now let's leave this here to clean it up, I guess. So yeah, this is done, this works. We're gonna double all of this up here, but before that we're gonna get rid of that copper patch. Off camera, most likely, I'm gonna build the pickup station down here. And, you know, with a pickup station here for the electronic circuits. Should we need more, we can expand to this side. We also have space here, but probably this is going to be for the modules. So part of this is going to go straight down, while part of this is being picked up for the science. I think, if I remember correctly, that's the only 2 reasons we need them. And we'll see how we deal with the advanced circuits. If we build one of these to then feed the green circuits, or whether we're going to produce the green circuits on site. There is a few nice blueprints out there, or concepts of people that have done this before, and I'll have a look at these, get inspired, and then come up with a version of my own. Now, I think unfortunately that's all we've got time for today. Thanks for having tuned in to this episode. I hope you liked this episode. If you did, don't hesitate to smack that like button. Helps me out tremendously. And you know what also would help me? I set up a Patreon account, and if you become a patron of mine, I'd be humbly pleased. Does this even make sense, or am I talking bullshit gibberish right now? Well, anyhow, I would really love it if you'd support me, because with your support you make this here happen. Right now I'm working full-time, so I have to stretch this over the course of a few days, and then with all of the editing and, you know, with the conceptioning of this and creating the blueprints and optimizing and building the recording and the editing, it takes a lot of time. And since I'm self-employed, that means for all the time that I do this, there is no other income. So you can help me with that, and the more patrons I get, the more I can focus on producing Let's Plays and tutorials. So check out the page, and if you haven't subscribed, why don't you hit that subscribe button? If you're already a subscriber of mine, let me just tell you that I think you're awesome. Thank you. And yeah, that was it for today. I hope you had fun. I sure did. And in life, whatever you do, make sure that you always got a hand's width of water under your keel. I'm Captain Concept. Have a great day.